sort of light bulb moment of, oh my God, I want to do that?
Influential teacher along with Shakespeare.
I was actually originally going to be a doctor.
Musicals is kind of where it started for me.
Really just took a lot of courage to be like, Mum, Dad, I'm going to do acting.
I knew that I wanted to go to drama school.
Yeah.
I knew that I was going to go to drama school.
And to be 17 and be able to just jump into the industry.
You have to root for yourself.
Yeah.
If I sit in a room long enough, I'm going to make something.
Unless you're like Meryl Streep, then you play like transformational characters.
Just Meryl Streep.
Sending a selfie to my mum saying, I've made it.
Today's guest is the brilliant Jack Walton, who is a Sydney-based actor and co-founder of the revolutionary creative networking company Panamo. See, I've already stuffed it up. Panamo, not Panamo.
You're doing
Yeah,
so
I'm
well.
just flipping those letters. Jack's also an atypical advisor for the Australian Theatre for Young People and works at the Media Entertainment and Arts Alliance. Panamo is an exciting new collaborative hub with an online and physical presence where creatives can plan, share, promote, network, and unite on a single platform. Jack began his performance studies at the Specialist Visual and Performing Arts program in Perth, through which he travelled to London and Paris and workshopped with incredible companies such as the National Theatre and Punch Drunk. After moving back to Sydney in 2015, he attended Newtown High School of Performing Arts, which he graduated from in 2017. Jack's theatre credits include The Climbing Tree by Rachel Coops, presented by ATYP, and was performed at Riverside Theatre, and Mercury Fur by Philip Ridley, directed by Kim Hardwick and presented at the King's Cross Theatre, and the new Australian work Distorted by Xavier Coy, produced by Fixfoot Productions at the Old 505 Theatre. Jack was also invited to perform at the Martin Socrates Prize, presented by ATYP at Riverside, and directed by some awesome many directors. I was one of the many directors on that. But very much, yes, that's right. Some of Jack's screen credits include Vince in Netflix upcoming Clickbait. We're so excited by that, which currently has a 2021 release date, and we can't wait. It even says that in here. We can't wait for it. It's true. Along with feature film Bilched, got this. Create New South Wales Sympathetic Threads and short film Night Terrors.
Sycophantic?
Sycophantic. See, I just can't do these
Very
words.
good.
Trans Am and the Song of Siren, among others. Jack has also partaken in musical theatre studies, plays the clarinet, and lists of hobbies include sailing, cricket, and chess. And that's a great segue because we've just talked to Jake Spear, and his parting words to us about for emerging actors was have some hobbies.
Absolutely. Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a little toot on the clarinet if
You're
you
a
got some
hobby man.
time.
Don't know where to put this. I'm just going to have a drink because I've got it down.
One's just
Take the
on
prop.
floor.
Take the offer.
Oh,
have
great.
a drink.
Good.
Cheers.
Together. What have you got? Just
water. Fabulous.
Yeah.
So, Jack.
Hello.
We are so excited to talk to you about all of these
I'm excited.
things. Do you have a favourite on this list that I read out? Something that stood out to you in your career?
Oh, I feel like everything that you do has a little, has a little moment.
Place in your heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Each thing is different. I mean, with The Climbing Tree, that was the first time that I got to perform regionally and tour something and get paid for it. How good is that?
Incredible.
And meeting Fraser Caulfield and the ATYP team, that was the first time that I guess I felt really confident in what I was performing. And so then moving on from that to Mercury Fur, that was a whole other thing because it was such a short period of time to get something done. But I was acting with people that I had admired for forever, growing up, and then Clickbait, of course, is amazing.
A little
That
bit
was
cool.
really
Netflix series. So how many years out of high school are you now? What are we talking here?
This is number 3.
Number 3, so it's not
Three.
far. So
Not
this
far.
is really exciting to have you in because you're just 3 years on
I
from
know,
what
early
this
days.
podcast is aimed for those people who are really just looking at taking the first step in, leaving high school, going into this. And you've already done so much.
It's all right. It's good.
It's all right.
Baby.
So let's take it back to baby days, to even more baby days. So you started off in Perth, like
I did. Well,
Or did you start in Sydney and go back to Perth?
That's right.
Yes.
We moved around a lot growing
Yes.
up. So we started in Sydney, born in Manly, and then we went to Melbourne for a few years.
Great. Done the
and
mosh
then moved back up to Sydney, and then moved to Perth, and now back in Sydney. So moved around a lot.
But you'd say it all started in Perth?
But
terms
yeah,
of
that's sort of where the
performance?
creative
Yeah.
journey started. Absolutely. My dad was an actor, so that was definitely something that would have, started the whole infatuation, I guess, with acting and what it was. But he wasn't acting by the time I was growing up, so it was kind of a mysterious thing that I wasn't so sure about. And then moving to Perth, in the primary school that I went to, there weren't really many, drama programs at all. So.
Same for me.
Right?
Perth is not.
It's lacking, guys.
Yeah, lacking,
Come
guys.
on, step up
Perth.
your game.
Absolutely.
But anytime there was some kind of presentation, I'd nick the opportunity to make something of it. And that was, that was the first time where people were kind of giggling and enjoying, a performance, if you like, even if it's just like a speech for a school thing. But then moving on, my mum saw this brochure at primary school when she was picking me up one day, and it was for a program called the Specialist Visual and Performing Arts Program at Mount Lawley Senior High School, and we were looking into it.
At Mount
So,
Lawley.
yeah.
Okay, that puts it in my map, my Perth map. Yep.
Yeah, where is that? Yeah, around
Yeah.
Mount Lawley. So, we went there, we did a 3-day audition, which was terrifying.
3-day audition?
I know,
And wait, this
crazy.
is like first year high school?
Yeah, first year high school.
So you're 13 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
12, 13. Not really knowing what I'm doing, but it was like a visual art, drama, film, and music thing. So it was kind of covering the board.
Yeah, and you were already clarinetting at this point?
Yes, yeah. I had the clarinet. That's another story.
Yeah. I've seen you play the clarinet. You played it.
That's right, of course.
The Riverside.
The climbing tree.
Yes.
So we love
I'm
that.
very handy.
Oh, you're so good. But oh god, where am I?
So we're in Mount Lawley.
Yes, so we're in Mount Lawley. I was doing the SPAPA program, and it was like a 3-year thing. So at the end of the 3 years, we got to go off to London and Paris and do these amazing workshops there.
That's amazing. And we certainly, I was down the road at John Curtin in Perth, which is the other performing arts, and we certainly were not going to London and Paris. How did you end up in London and Paris?
Send them an email.
Yeah, I will. I said, look, Jack Walton up the road says he went to London and Paris.
Come on, guys. Yeah.
That's amazing. So how did you end up, getting with the National Theatre and Punch Drunk? That's incredible.
Yes. Well, that was just all through the school. So we spent a few weeks at each place just working with them, and we got to see all of their shows, which is amazing.
Wow.
And that was the first time that I was really blown away by theatre and was shown just how much you can do with it and how flexible it is, because I think often theatre's compared to film as kind of a more restricted art form where you can't do as much with it. But really, it's just that we've only seen it being done in so many ways. So I think there's a lot that you can do with it, and that was sort of the first thing that opened my eyes to that. But
so I suppose you already had the bug pre even auditioning, right?
Oh,
so,
yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you went to the school specifically because you had the interest.
Oh, big
in
time.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And then it just kind of widened your eyes even more to it.
Because I remember just watching a few films when I was 8, and Dad explaining to me that this is what acting is, and that was a sort of light bulb moment of, oh my god, I want to do that. So it was from when I was 8. It was weird to think now that that's the moment where you go, that's a career focus of that's what I want to do with my life.
Oh, and that was 8.
I was
Oh
8.
my
That's so
gosh.
weird.
Yeah.
What 8-year-old's thinking that?
Yeah.
But honestly, going to the SPAPA program and being introduced to the drama people there, and introduced to Shakespeare, and introduced to developing your own performance like that, that was really special, and it was the only place that I felt really at home. I mean, we had moved around a lot, so we had a scattered idea of what home is, but I guess whenever I enter a theatre or a space like that, that's sort of a spiritual place where I can just be like, this is where I belong in a way. So yeah, it's that I owe SPAPA a lot for my creative development.
Yeah, amazing. And then, so how old were you when you moved back to Sydney?
I was 15.
So
Yeah.
you were only there for a couple of years, right? 3?
Yeah. Oh, we were there, about 4 years. So moved when I was about 10, 4.5. And then my dad had passed away when I was 14 years old. And that was a moment for us as a family, which is really just my mum and I, to really reconsider what we were doing. Because a big part of why we moved to Perth was because we've got family there and support. So, the thought of moving again was creeping up on us. My mum had made me a promise that we wouldn't move again. You know, it was the 5th school, that's enough. But when something like that happens, you've just got to reassess.
Absolutely.
And so my mum got a wonderful opportunity to come and work back in Sydney at the same time. So it was just the universe weirdly throwing things out. And so she came to me and said, look, I know you've got your mates here. We can stay here if you want, but there's an opportunity in Sydney. Would you want to come with me? And that made me think, oh God, well, I guess that's, if I want to be doing acting seriously, that's sort of the place to be. So I said to her, look, love to do this, but I really want to continue acting. So if we can find a school that has a similar sort of network, that would be amazing. And so that's where we started looking up online for different things and found Newtown High School of the Performing Arts. And that really did make a difference to the way that that I went about, starting a professional career, for sure.
In what way? So what did Newtown give you that allowed for that? You were already so embedded in it in purpose.
Well, it was more the practical sides. I mean, SPAPA gave me, wonderful creative tools, if you like, to work with. But when I moved to Newtown, there was one teacher there that I was particularly drawn to, Annie Finstra. She was just amazing. And I wasn't in her class for the first few weeks of our new year 11 class, right? And so I'd asked the principal, I said, hey, I know we're on the same slots. This is a really weird question, but can you put me on to this class? Because I just love this teacher. And he sort of, begrudgingly went, oh, whatever, yeah, sure, that's strange. And it turned out that she'd known my dad and was around that sort of crew, if you like. So she definitely took me under her wing. And as soon as we were getting to drama school season, that's where Annie was really wonderful and started going through, technique and things like that, and working with me on monologues and trying to get things right for that next step, if you like. And she's the one who introduced me to my agent. Which is amazing.
Huge.
Makes a big...
That's how I originally met you, was you were on Sophie's list as a 17-year-old, which was amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's cool.
So you had drama school on the radar?
Oh yeah.
17?
Oh, the dream was go to Whopper.
Whopper.
Whopper. The dream, go back to Perth. Do
Perth.
another move, Jack.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me all about this. Why Whopper? Why drama school?
I think. Well, when my dad had passed away, I made a promise to him that I would sort of carry the baton, if you like, and continue to do what he couldn't. And that was in a few ways. I mean, one was, in my mind, that's going to drama school and doing that sort of process. And so initially it was neither. That was the first thing. But I think the more we were looking into what different drama schools were giving to their students and what I would benefit from, and just even being back in an environment that I felt comfortable in, Whopper was definitely the place for me. So with all that in mind, I only auditioned for NIDA and Whopper that year. And it was just a weird set of circumstances where my drama teacher was filming the monologues that I was doing, so I could critique them myself. And then, but really, she sent them off to Sophie, and I got a call from her saying, hey Jack, we'd love to have you in, around the same time that all this auditioning was happening. And so we sat down, we had a chat, she said, put down a few tapes. We'd love to have you on board. And that was a real decision. It was a big decision to make, right? Because it was like, okay, do you follow what you've been thinking of for the last however many years, and you've been so set on that idea? But I guess it was a really cool option to be 17 and be able to just jump into the industry.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So did you get into either? Did you get that far?
I don't know.
Wow. So you pulled out of the
pulled
audition
out.
process.
Yes.
How far did you get?
We got to the callbacks, and so.
Wow. So that was both Whopper and NIDA. So you did the first.
I didn't get into NIDA.
Okay.
That was straight
you got
up.
cut. I got
nah.
cut also. Yeah.
No chance.
Yeah.
But got it.
Which is great, and I love that you're here and that you got rejected from NIDA.
Oh, yeah.
And you're killing the
Oh,
roles. So
forget
that's
it.
a great, you know, got to remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly my point. But you were on the radar for Whopper.
Well, yeah, because it was the choice of you can go to drama school if you get in, and do that whole thing for 3 years, great, or you can try being in the industry for a year. If you like it, great. If you don't, audition again.
Yeah.
It's not the end of the world, you know. So, taking that option to just leap with the cushion of I've got an agent, I know I'll get some auditions, and you know, it was really baby steps of just doing short films, and then that first A2IP gig.
Did Sophie give you that advice as well?
Yes, yeah. She said they're your options.
Yeah.
So, up to you.
Wow.
Yeah.
That was a really hard choice.
It was.
Yeah.
It was. Yeah, for sure. But I'm glad in hindsight now.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell then. That's because, of course, when you're just out of school is what a bunch of kids are experiencing now. You get out of school and you just don't know, because the whole idea of the only way to make it is to go to drama school. It's completely shifted.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a hard choice.
Yeah. And you're happy with it?
I'm thrilled.
Yeah,
I'm good.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you supplemented that education in any way? Like, have you taken acting classes since graduating or anything like that?
Yeah, where I can.
Yeah.
They're expensive.
Yeah,
man.
they are
like,
expensive.
What the?
Yeah.
Pricey, but I do where I can. It's not a weekly thing.
Yeah.
I'm not, in a year course or anything.
Yeah.
But when I get the chance and I see something that I really like, then, or that I feel like I get something from, absolutely.
Yeah.
And often you get those opportunities to learn things and work with people when you're doing a project, right? And so that's, like, honestly, most of the dialect work or vocal coaching or anything like that happens through productions.
Yeah.
But yeah, I read a lot. I try and read as much as I can on, taking technique with a grain of salt. You know.
So what's your view on all that? Like, do you think training is important? Do you, I'll throw it
yeah.
out,
I don't know. Well, I think it is. I think it's important to know about that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it absolutely gives you the tools to be able to be a more flexible actor. But I think different people need different things as well, and you'll find the things that work for you.
Yeah.
I think being in the mindset of, oh, okay, I'm just focusing on Stanislavski and that's it.
Yeah.
I feel like that's sort of limiting, what you can do, because there are so many brilliant things that you can take from different people. I think stay in the know about it.
Yeah.
Because as well, if it's not something that you want to take on as an actor, you will be working with other people who work differently to you.
Yes.
And so being able to adapt to those performance styles or whatever it is, I think it's super valuable.
Yeah. Do you have your own process or anything that you have used?
It's not a strict process.
Yeah.
It's like, I think the main things that I have in mind is just empathy, and a big part of it is intuition. I mean, that's what you're doing as an actor. You're intuitively getting yourself into whatever the being of the character is to you. So I think, the obvious thing is you get your script. I like to do as much work as I can on the text in bringing out anything from what does this specific word mean to what are the character relationships, blah blah blah. I'll beat the scene out, and So I will do those technicalities, but then I will separate myself from that and go, okay, so now that you've done all that work,
Yeah.
you can put that to the side, and just try and be as free as you can with it, and try different things in the rehearsal space.
So, and I guess each director will bring a different process to the table
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Like,
Oh,
what was
yeah.
working with Fraser like? Did he have a kind of process he
Oh,
brought to the
well,
room?
he didn't work. He didn't direct the climbing tree, but he did help direct in the last sort of week or 2 weeks, and he was really special to work with. He got something out of me that not many other directors have.
And this is Fraser Caulfield from
Fraser Caulfield,
from
yes.
Artistic Director of the
Oh
ATYP.
my god!
Just
He's
put him in
amazing.
context,
We
yes.
love Fraser.
We love Fraser.
Yeah, it was such a weird. He took me. We were doing this scene where I was playing a young Irish convict who had his family, starving to death, blah blah blah. So it was a very emotional moment, and it's a part at the beginning of the play, and he really pushed me further with that than I was expecting to go at all. In the rehearsal space, he stood just in front of me like that, and
This is pre-COVID.
This is pre-COVID, and I gave him a peck. No, all very appropriate. But he was just delivering the lines as this instructor, and just not responding to anything that I was saying, and to be that close to someone who just has no empathy for what you're feeling. I don't know. I bawled.
Wow.
I just cried. I couldn't help it.
That's amazing.
But then we couldn't do that on the night.
No.
And it never. Anyway.
So what did you do then? How did you bring that?
Oh, you just you do it different, don't you? You just go with the moment, don't you?
Yeah.
No, that's the thing. If it says you must cry, then you're probably not going to.
Yeah.
But if you can get yourself to a place emotionally where you're feeling that, then awesome.
Is that what it was like in that script? Was it like you?
No, it wasn't.
Right.
It wasn't. It was very much interpret how you will.
Yeah.
So there were versions of it where we played it completely down, and it was as though he was just speaking to himself. And then other moments where he was lashing out and being really angry. And then of course the middle ground where it really gets to him and he falls apart. But all of them were they had their pros and cons. I think the audience would have still got a similar thing from each version.
That's the beauty with live theatre, of course. That it is going to be a bit different every night.
Oh, we love that.
Do you feel like you were able to hit those different emotional, like what you needed to for each night?
I think so. Yeah. I loved doing that play. Yeah, that was awesome.
Let's talk about everything that happened next. So, going back to where we were, you've graduated high school. You've decided Sophie German.
Yep.
I'm here with you. We're on this journey together.
Great.
What happened next?
I was doing a play at Suds, right, just before Sophie had booked me, and so I invited her to that performance, and it was Berry Child, and I was playing a 40-year-old called Tilden, if you know the play. Love Tilden.
40 is definitely your age range.
Oh yeah, I think so. I'm just so flexible. I can do anything. No, so I don't know if that was the best one to invite the team to as the first show. Hey guys, loving this opportunity. This is fun. But at the same time, it was a fun play. So we did that, did a bunch of shorts, did the climbing tree, and then after that was a whole new year. So we did. I booked a really small role in a feature film called Bilged, and that was amazing just to meet people. And then after that was Mercury Fur, I think.
And were these all through Soph, or were you getting some of them?
Yeah. Oh well, the short films. Some of the short films I was doing on my own as well. But a lot came through Soph. Most, I would say, 70 to 90% came through Sophie. And she was really lovely in allowing me to do a bunch of non-paying gigs that are probably not going to go in many directions.
Did she put you forward for Mercury Fur?
Yes,
she
did. And that that was probably the thing that broke me into the indie, I guess, the indie space.
Yeah, of sitting theatre. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so just meeting people after the show. My God, that was amazing.
Yeah.
That
was a huge play. It was very intense.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
yes.
it required a lot, and to work with Kim Hardwick as the
Yeah.
director, it was amazing. She's awesome. And
Do you
the
find
whole
that play
cast,
hard to do at all in terms of it was very intense content? Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of death and
Yeah, I almost prefer performing that stuff, you know, and it's annoying when you hear things and experience a kind of typecasting.
Yeah.
Where, you know, for me it's okay, you'll be playing a nerdy character, or you'll be playing someone who's really innocent, and because I come off that way, for sure. And I totally understand that, but what I'm really interested in exploring is sort of the darker side.
The range.
So I definitely want to be doing more of that. But that play was beautiful. In the last scenes, particularly, to have a moment where you can just sort of, you know, allow the emotions to overwhelm you. Yeah, it's cool.
And so you've worked very much. You've done some screen and some theatre and indie theatre. So you've done a really big sector. Do you have a favourite of those? Which space do you prefer to be in, or what's the difference in working in stage versus screen?
Well, I don't know if I have. I guess I do. I love working in the KXT just because it's such a lovely, tight space. So intimate. You can get away with so much.
Absolutely, it's almost filmic in that way.
Yes, absolutely.
Right there. Yeah.
And the other benefit is you've not got the distractions on film, you know, that you'd have where after a take, this is the thing that threw me off with Clickbait. In the first few shots that we did, you have people running up, you've got your wardrobe person fixing you up, and then you've got makeup doing their thing.
Wow.
You've got line supervisor
Guys,
coming
I'm trying
in.
to cry here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're like, okay, we've got a new line here, so this is what you're going to be saying, and then you've got your dialect coach coming from fucking left field, saying, oh, you know, work on these tones, blah blah blah, and then you've got the director coming in to say, so this is what I want you to do differently, blah blah blah. So to take that on, where the camera's this close, and then you've got your crew sitting, you know, a meter away from you, or in a different room looking at a monitor. It's like, oh my God. That's to get back into a space where you're focused and not thinking about those things is really hard. But when you get into a rhythm, you know, it can be quite cool to find new things in the scene. But that's what I love about the KXT, because you can get away with the film stuff in terms of the intimacy, but then you're also you're in it for however many hours, and you can just live that out, which is amazing.
When you were at Newtown, did you get any screen training at all? Was it all theatre based?
No!
Yeah, 'cause I was the same. Which
I was really peed off about, to be honest.
So where did you pick it up along the way? How did you figure out how to do things on screen?
I guess just doing those short films was the big thing.
So you really were learning on the job?
Yeah, big time.
Wow.
Yeah, I had no idea. And then, you know, you read whatever Meisner thing and you're like, cool, sure, give that a go. But then that flops or it doesn't, you know, so you take what you do. But with Newtown though, I was in the prefect body, guys.
Oh!
Oof. And we got a bunch of film equipment, mostly for live streaming and things like that. But that I guess gave students an idea of what to do on screen. And we did have a film class, so you team up with your classmates that did have a camera or did have the equipment, and then you'd go home and film at theirs. So there was a lot of experimenting with different things, and there's a group of us from high school that still do experiment with, you know, just trying different things, and from that you learn so much. But yeah, God, I've still got no idea. I don't know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? I feel like no one really does.
No, but you certainly you're acting through
well through it. Yeah, we're pretending well.
Yeah.
Good.
So we're on the next. I'm going towards that big Netflix show, but we had a bit in between there, didn't we? So we've done KXT now.
Yep.
In the journey. Anything else come in between?
Oh goodness! Well, we had like Securities Prize
did.
that we did.
Which we did together.
That was cool.
That was very cool. That was you love Riverside Parramatta.
Oh, we love Riverside.
You've done a few shows there now.
Oh, we love them.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what? I don't know.
Well, let's skip to it then. The big moment of how did this happen? How did the Netflix show happen? What was the process with that?
That was weird. Yeah, that was really strange because I put down a tape. It was just another,
Nothing that came
another
through.
thing.
Yeah.
And so we put it down, sent it out, and then we didn't hear anything for about 3 months. So I just assumed I'd sort of forgotten about it. It's like, oh no, I haven't got that one. Boo hoo, that's all right. We'll move on.
You get pretty used to that in this lifestyle.
Yeah, exactly. So you don't really think of it. And so it was weird to then get the email from my agent saying, hey, they want to have you call you back in for another audition. And so we went into the room at Fox, in the audition room at Fox. And we had a dialect session with one of their dialect coaches, Melissa Bruder. We love you. And so we went into the room like any other thing, and you've got your producer calling in from the States, and so he's sort of the god of the room because I don't know, it's like a voiceover. You don't see his face, and you're like, oh, okay, sure. And then you've got your casting director there, and your reader, and your dialect coach in the back of the room. So we did that, and then.
And did you see anybody else in that process at all? Or was it just you?
No, I didn't see anyone else, which was strange.
Yeah.
I ended up after that finding out some other people who had got down to that point as well, where it's like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. But that would have been amazing. But what? Yeah. So 2 weeks later, we were on a plane to Melbourne.
Wow.
Yeah, it was very cool. But it was such a small role. But at the same time, it was sort of a glimpse into what you can be doing, which was so cool. And to be on a set of that size, where you're seeing people do things that you've not seen before, and pick up little hints and tricks.
Can you tell us at all about the role?
I don't know how much I can say.
No.
I don't know.
Okay, we'll have to leave it. It's next year or something.
Next year.
Are you still doing any more filming on it, or is it done?
2 more episodes.
Yeah, wow. So you're clearly a reoccurring character though.
Yes.
So not that small.
No, it's small, but you'll see me a couple of times.
Yeah, you see a couple of times. All right. You'd be like the face of the poster. Like, damn it, Jack, you lied to us this whole time.
Oh yeah, guys.
Okay, well here's a really fun one for you this is our favourite question that we get asked from senior year students is how on earth do you learn the lines?
Oh, tell me, please. I want to know.
Do you have a process for it?
Well, I tend to break up a scene into beats, so just little chunks, and I just learn them bit by bit. It's really boring. It's just repetition.
Do you do it on your own?
I do. I do it on my own until I'm confident with the lines, and then I'll do it with someone.
Yeah.
But the other thing is just I'm a very visual person, so being able to attach a mental image to a line or even a feeling to a line, I think helps bring it up.
Yeah.
And that helps initially with just, even if you don't know the specific words, just to be able to get out what your, I guess, intention is, what you're trying to say out. And then from there you can refine, exactly what you're saying. But yeah, it's just weeks of repetition.
Yeah.
Very boring.
What's the biggest amount of lines you've had to learn for a project?
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, all the shows I've seen you do, you've had a pretty hefty role.
Yeah.
So certainly, there are a few contenders for it.
I don't know. Yeah, Hamlet's the next one though, isn't it? That's the mother of lines. That would be insane. I would stress out about that.
Yes, we had Jake Spear in here earlier who was talking about Richard III, and the headline line he was looking at the script where you're gonna have to do 80% of it. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, you got to really work.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh man.
Yeah,
cool.
I guess just spending the hours on it though. Yeah. Do you when you've done projects, do you put a lot of time into learning the lines, or do you feel like they actually do come quite naturally through the process?
So I don't know. It's sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard. I think it depends on the style of the writing. Sometimes that changes things up. But I I tend to get it down pretty quickly. I don't know if that's just because I hate learning lines, so I
Yeah.
want to be off book as soon as I can.
Yeah.
But yeah.
When do you usually get off book? Like, do you try and come into the room already with some lines down in those rehearsals?
Oh yeah. I want a few scenes at least.
Wow.
At least done. If like the next one, I'd want to do the whole play just to see what that's like. But in the past, I've only done the first half.
That's still
maybe.
huge. Yeah. To do on your own and without the kind of context yet of the image of the player. And
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point actually. So it might be worth even not, and then figuring that out as you go.
I've definitely, as a director, found it very freeing to have the actors have the lines down. I would never ask people to do that because it's a lot of work. But when it has happened, it's like, oh wow, I don't think it's a lot of people say it is inhibiting to have your lines down because you don't learn them.
Yeah, I don't know. As long as you're still open to playing with it freely, like you can learn your lines and bring something new to it each time.
Yeah.
But it's just, I mean, having the awareness to do that, I guess. Yeah.
I'm gonna do a sneaky time check. Fantastic.
How we going?
Doing very well.
Oh,
So
good.
tell me about your inspirations coming into acting. Do you have performers you looked up to or anything like that?
Yeah, I've got a weird little list.
Yeah?
Yeah, strange.
Has it evolved over the years
It
as well?
has,
Yes,
it
okay.
has. The first thing that I went wow to was Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight, and so that was like, oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's where you can push it.
But that's a very specific style of, I mean, in terms of just going method. Have you gone method before in your roles? Yeah, right.
I've like the furthest I've gone is keeping an accent for a day. You know, and it's like I'm so
into it. Yeah.
No, but I think other performers, Mark Rylance is amazing, a wonderful British performer who brings so much subtlety into what he does. He's very still. He doesn't need to do much, but he still manages to just feed the audience's eyes into his hands. It's amazing. And Andrew Scott, I love.
Yes.
He's wonderful. I just saw a recording of something he did, Three Kings. Oh my God, I cried. It was beautiful. Yeah, he's a wonderful performer because it's not just that these guys are getting into a kind of performance that you see so often, particularly in America, where it's, you've got to be as human as you can or as nothing as you can almost. I think being able to push those limits. So it's like Philip Seymour Hoffman or oh God, who else is there? Adam Driver, I love.
I love both his actors.
But it's like Meryl Streep, of course, is incredible. Saoirse Ronan's so cool. Even who else? God, I feel like there's a list that go on forever.
Do you feel like you learn lessons from these actors, or have you tried to really like push my own acting style, I suppose?
Oh no, yeah, I absolutely steal.
Great, yeah.
You've got to.
Yeah.
You see Robert De Niro doing his thing.
Yeah,
you can only take so much of that without coming off as De Niro. But I think you should take things, but in a way that feeds into what you do. I think you do need to find your own style, if you like, or even I don't know if it's so much finding your own style, but just being comfortable in what you naturally do, and then being able to add things into it and sort of I don't know, get comfortable with that.
Yeah. So with Panamo, so tell me about that for you in terms of your career. I guess you've almost had a producing role in the creation of the company. Yeah. Is that something you're interested in? Like what drove you to create Panamo? And do you see it being part of your future?
Oh yeah, definitely. So initially, I was thinking of a few different ideas of what you could do with a production company, right? And I'm still tossing up between whether I want Panamo to have a production element or if I want that to be separate. So we'll see. But I was meeting up with a friend of mine during Mercury for Jodie Rabinowitz, and we were talking about just different things that we noticed in the industry that we felt were roadblocks or just things that people struggle with. I mean, the first thing being, how the hell do you get to know people so that you can, collaborate with them and work on new projects? How do you get your name or your voice out there? And so it started as a networking thing at the King's Cross Theatre, where after a preview or something, we'd get the either the theatre space or the foyer space for a couple of hours, and it was just to invite people who are emerging and also invite people who are fairly experienced and being able to bring these experiences together and remove the awkwardness of, this is who I am, this is what I do. It's like titles were banned for a bunch of these events.
Yeah, great.
So but we had topics coming up that we'd sort of focus on. So we'd have a thing on the wall saying, these are some provocations, do you agree or disagree? And so you talk about those first. And then inevitably you end up talking about what you do and who you are, blah, blah, blah. But just to have a more organic, I guess, lead into that. And then that turned into, okay, well, especially in COVID, well, how can we get this into an online and into a modern world beyond just physical events? And so we came up with the idea of it's kind of like, I guess, a LinkedIn or a Facebook in a way for creatives, where you're separating your social media from your work. Really, you don't want to be up at 11:30 and then you're talking to your nan 1 minute and then the next minute you're
having a creative conversation.
You're like, I've got to get this set done. And it's like, I don't know what I'm doing. Help. So just to have a space for that, I think was the dream there. And also, I mean, that's been such a wonderful thing to have as an actor, to be able to go, okay, well, I've got this company where I'm able to meet these different people that I wouldn't have met otherwise, at least not this soon in my career progression, and just being able to either have conversations with them and draw out different wisdom, or even get to talk about creating stuff. It's like that's really cool, and being able to give that to other people as well, to go, hey, if you need help, come over here. There's we're a community, so get together. Nothing to be afraid of.
And that's so. It's interesting that you've pretty much had back-to-back acting work since you graduated high school.
Yeah.
So why did you decide to do this extra thing? It wasn't like you had free time, or that you were like, I don't know what my next thing's going to be, so I better, So what made you want to do this as well?
Oh God, I think there was an itch just to do something else. I mean, there were a few things. It was okay. Well, if we're taking acting as a career, there will inevitably be really high points and really low points. So just in preparation for that, have something that you can continually be working at that's going to serve your career as a performer, as well as being able to help out other people. But it was also just noticing these issues that we saw and going, okay, well, if we have the power to be able to do something that can shift the industry in a way, or at least just help people get into it, then why not do it? And if I've been super lucky to get acting work over the last few years, and so if I'm progressing into different things, then I want to be able to bring people along with me and go, hey guys, let's open up the clickiness of the industry.
Now this question is related to this. We're going to do a circle here. Did you ever have a backup when you were, do you have a backup in mind of what you would do if acting didn't work? No. Great.
No.
I mean, because this is something that I've, talked about in previous episodes as well, is getting diversity to be your backup. So producing and writing and making your own, these companies, they become your safety net.
For sure. And the first thing, like with all of these Zoom things that you get with people who are amazing, or podcasts, the main piece of advice that I was taking away from it was make your own stuff.
So
that's for sure something that you should be doing.
And it's something something you'd recommend to young emerging
Oh
actors?
yeah. If you've not got a backup of, I'm going to be a big time lawyer.
Yeah.
Work in
On
the
the
financial
side.
sector.
Yeah.
But no, I had a few weird moments where I was like, oh, this is cool. I wanted to be a cosmologist at one point. I wanted to, I was looking at universities the other day, just going, oh, it's COVID, not much is,
Yeah, might as well
happening.
do a course.
Maybe
Yeah.
we'll just have a look, have a browse. And then of course, fees have been bumped through the roof.
Yeah.
Stupidly, so I won't be paying $40,000 to do an art degree.
How much? Yeah.
So,
Wow.
no, thank you. Even with HEX and things like that.
But you're a prime example of you don't need to.
No,
you
don't need to. No, I mean, no. I'm interested in different things like international law and things like that. It's like, oh, that's an interest, but geopolitics and things like that. But I'm not going to be jumping at it.
Yeah.
Anthropology's cool.
Anthropology is very cool,
really
and as an
cool.
actor, I think it's really interesting, right? Yeah.
For sure.
Did you ever have when I went into this industry, I remember everyone around me at that age was like they all had a amount of years that they were going to give themselves. You had and if it didn't work by then I'm out. Did you ever have that?
My mum and I had a chat about this.
Yeah.
One night, and we went, she said to me, look, Jack, if you get to 5 years and nothing's happened, maybe it's time to reassess. But I don't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
But even then, I don't know. I don't know if I would have. I think I just. It's so hard to think about because I identify with acting so much.
Yes.
It's such a big part of who I am and what I do, and my purpose, if you like. So the thought of not doing it or the thought of giving it up at all is sort of foreign to me. I couldn't come to terms with an idea like that.
Yeah, and I think if you are diversifying yourself and you're producing and make those options open to yourself, then you don't need to.
No, just keep making things, guys.
Absolutely. So we're gonna have to wrap up, Jack. But before we do you have any final words of advice for young emerging actors out there looking at entering our industry?
Oh my god!
I know it's a big one.
It's so hard. I don't know. I think that's it really.
Yeah.
I think it's just diversifying and just trying as many things as you can, and especially in the first few years, like don't get fussy about what you want to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's something that I've been trying to figure out over the last, a few months, particularly, where you get the time to think about where you want things to go, and it's like, okay, do you want to refine, or are you still going to be open to different things that maybe aren't where you want your career to go? I don't know. But I think in the first few years, absolutely, just be open to making anything.
Yeah.
Because you'll meet awesome people no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's it really.
We're a community-driven industry.
Oh,
Yes, you've got to get into the community.
Meet people. Yeah. Don't be afraid to say hello to people that you're looking up to.
Yeah.
Definitely. If you're in the foyer, if you've seen a show, say something to the director or whoever else.
That scares me, that stuff, but it's a good thing to do.
Well, do it.
Do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Be proactive.
Thank you so much for coming in
Thank
here
you.
today, Jack. And
Thank
we can't
you.
wait to keep an eye on your career. We can't wait to see Clickbait when it comes out in this tiny role that you speak of that you're mysteriously in every episode for.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Cool.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Jack.
This is so cool.